once you get your GS2 installed in your new combine and you get the key on and it's gone through its boot up process, you'll come to a page probably similar to this. And the first thing you'll want to do is set up a home page for your combine. And the way we do that is we have a few buttons here. We've got the home button and we've got the menu button. So we're going to go to the menu button, and then we're going to go to Layout Manager. And that's going to bring up a page and allow us to set it to our specifications. Now notice we've got more than one page that we can set up. This one's currently on page 1. And we also have a check mark in that we want to include that in the home page collection. So anytime I hit the home button, it'll toggle between all my home pages. So I'm going to select one that looks like this. It's got a top section, a lower section, and then a side section. So I'm going to hit letter G. Now, I want to set up my top section. So I'm going to go right here. And I'm going to go to GS2 Pro, or Green Star 2 Pro. Okay. And then I can toggle through my pages by pressing the 1, 2, 3, and up through 5 button here. So I'm going to go through here until I find the one that I want. And I want this one right here to be up there. Then I'm going to select my bottom one, a Green Star 2 Pro. And I'm going to toggle through the pages until I find the one that I'm looking for. And that's going to be this one. And then I'm going to go over here to my right side, and I'm going to hit Green Star 2 Pro again, and I'm going to toggle through the pages until I find the one I'm looking for, and that's going to be that one. Once I get them all set, I hit the enter button. Now I have my home page, and we've successfully got my home page ready to go. Okay, we're going to go through the GS3, or it would be the same for a GS2 display. We happen to have the GS3 currently installed in the machine. And right now we're looking at a typical home page where you've got your map and then your farm and field information over on the right hand side. Down in the bottom right hand corner we've got our home button as well as our menu button. And I'm going to go ahead and go into some of the setup and things of that nature. So we're going to go to the menu button. Now we've got a list of several things here, but the one we're going to be concerned about is the GS3. Or if you have a 2600, you're going to use a GS2. Okay, there's several buttons also over here that we're going to go through, and I'm going to go through one at a time. The first one you're going to want to set up is your resources button, which is letter G. And this is where we're going to enter our client, farm, and field, and a task, as well as our crop season. Now we need to make sure that we have all 3 client, farm, and field lines filled out, as well as our task. If we want to record, we must have a task in there, and obviously we're in a combine, so it's going to be harvest. Our crop season is going to be 2012. The next button down is our equipment button. And the combine is already loaded. And we can put our machine and model in here. They do have the new auto detect feature available now, and on the new S-Series combines, you probably saw it if you had an 8R tractor or a 9R tractor this spring. It physically loads the serial number of that machine, and it also puts in the offsets. They're pre-populated for you, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. If you, for some reason, they get cleared out or whatever, you need to go into change offsets, and then you want to go ahead and measure all of the letters based on what the sentences are telling you here at the bottom. Moving over one is our header. Again, it knows it has a corn head on it, so it's got corn head in there and it's grayed out. We need to put an implement model and an implement name, as well as go ahead and enter our offsets. We've already pre-populated those with the correct amounts, and we do have our implement width at 1230. We have a 12-row corn head on it, and our track spacing is also going to be 1230. Overlap control is checked. That works a lot like Swath Pro does from planter clutches or in a sprayer with the booms. If you have already harvested your end rows or have some point rows, and two rows are running in an area that's already been harvested, it will basically turn the recording off for those 2 rows, and the combine will not record any yield information for those 2 rows because you've already harvested it. The next button down is our document button, and this is where we go in and we put in our crop type, our brand, our variety, which we've loaded those in there already. To do that, you would just hit change harvest settings. You would enter in your crop type, your brand, and your variety. If you planted with a GS3 or GS2, through Apex, you can set up what they call variety locator files. If you recorded your varieties correctly, you can check that box, and then the combine will automatically pick up those varieties where you planted them, and then we'll record the yield information accordingly. If you'd like to hear a tone when that variety does actually change, you can also check that box, and it will give you a beep when it changes varieties. The residue management, we're going to put chop and spread in there, and that's going to take care of our document page. At the top, you should only have harvest and new. If you have more than that for tabs, you probably will not be able to record as it will not be set up correctly. So we should just have harvest and new up here, and then make sure this is all filled out correctly to make sure that your recording will turn on. One other function that we have in a combine is the loads. You have your load name, and you can call that by tank, full, truck, however you want to do it, but that's the name. The destination, maybe you're taking it to the elevator, or maybe you have a certain set of bins that you're hauling it to, and you name those bins, home place bins, 1, 2, 3, whatever they might be. You just put that destination in there so you know where they're going. Right now we have the auto increment load number checked. If you check that, every time you engage the unloading auger, this number is going to go up. If you want to do it by truck or by cart, or however you're going to do it, you can uncheck that box, and then when you get the cart full, you can go ahead and hit that plus sign, and it will record how many bushels that it's unloaded since the last time you hit the load number increase button. So auto increment, every time you turn the unloading auger on, it's going to record a load. If you uncheck the auto increment button, then you need to go ahead and adjust that each and every time that you want to record a load and the information that goes along with it. Some other buttons we've got here, we've got our mapping button, and this is where we're going to set up what our map is going to look like on our home page. We've got a map settings button, and we're going to want to make sure in the foreground that we have yield selected. You can have coverage only or moisture, but we want to make sure that yield is selected so it shows us our yield. If you've got guidance lines for your auto steer, you can go ahead and check that, and it will show them on your map. You can also check your grid, and you can set your grid size if you would like, and you can also have a GPS accuracy box checked if you so desire. Hit the accept button. Now we've got our perspective view, or our view button. So right now we're in the perspective view. If I hit the button, now we're in a very zoomed out, or what I call the blimp view from overhead. And then we've got a very zoomed in view right over the top of the machine. Now I like to run the perspective view because I can see the field out in front of me, and I can kind of see behind me as well. This button changes it from coverage and overlap only to where I can actually put in a scale or a legend so I know what color means what. Now if you want to change that, you just simply touch it. Any yield greater than 200 will be green, 180 to 200 will be yellow, or anything less than 140, the way I have it set up right now, will be purple. You can set that up to your own preference, but these are some pretty typical starting points. The last button we're going to talk about is the guidance button. And right now we are under our view page, and this is where we would set our AB line. So we go down to our set track 0 page. Okay, this is where we would put in a track. So right now we're going to say new, and I'm just going to use the test. And we can do a couple different methods. This is A plus B, which A plus B would be you'd set a point at one end of the field, drive to the other end of the field, and set your B. I'm going to do it on A plus heading. So if you know your heading, or you're going to cut beans at an angle, you can actually put that heading in. So I'm going to set my A, and then I'm going to put in a heading of 270, which would be due west. Now if it's due west, that's 270, south would be 180, north would be 0, and then east would be 90. So once I get that set up in there, I want to check my track spacing. I have a 12-row corn head, so my track spacing is going to be 30 feet. I hit accept. There's my lines. Under my guidance settings, I have some general settings. I can add or remove tones. For example, if I want the auto deactivate message, I can do away with that. If I want the tracking tones that beep at me if I get more than 4 inches off, I can put those in there. The advanced auto track settings, this is where if I'm getting some malperformance out of my auto steer, I can go in and tweak some of the settings if I so desire. But that's under the advanced settings. And then my shift track settings, right now I've got small shifts on. If you're using row sense, which are the sensors on the corn head, your shift track settings will not be used because the sensors on the corn head take place of the shift track. But if I want to use it on a platform or something of that nature, I just want to make sure that the small shift box is checked. And that's going to take care of our GS3